This is Valorant. We're here on Xbox Series X. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So this is a free-to-play shooter, which is essentially the equivalent of, I guess you would say, Counter-Strike, but with heroes and that, like, kind of, not fully, but League of Legends sort of twist and or influence being imparted on it. So this is technically like the beta early play of this game, but since it's essentially a full game and it even has achievements, I'm kind of considering this a full release. So for now, let's say that this is my review of the game is what I'm doing at this point, unless something radically changes, which I just really don't see being the case. So, yeah, let's dive in here. Free-to-play hero shooter, taking a pile of different rounds where you face off using your unique abilities, quick deaths, sort of, to me, a bit of a slow movement, and very, very long rounds where matches can be, like, well over half an hour long. They just seem to stretch on and on and on. So what are we getting here? 4K resolution, it goes to 120 FPS. You can see that in the top left. We have a client FPS sort of thing. But you can also change in the settings a whole bunch of different things about your stats. So we can actually have like a graph. So we could do both. So you see on the right-hand side actually shows like a frame time kind of thing, which is fascinating because I'm trying to think of another game on console that actually gives you the, I guess you would say the frame graphing, if that makes sense. Like I've seen a few that do the FPS counter, but the graph thing is kind of, it's a rare thing. You don't see many, you don't see many games doing that. Okay, so let's dive in here. We've got spatial sound support, Dolby Atmos support, we've got DTS:X support. It's kind of got all the bells, the whistles, everything that you would expect. Oh, come on, teammate, you're right beside him. You're not shooting any bullets. Holy, that teammate is useless. Who was the one there that just kind of literally, like, let me die? This is like, he could have shot, like, any shots that way. I think they died, too. Unbelievable. Seriously, they were walking up. It's like, shoot any bullets at them. So it's a 5v5 game. There's some different modes, but this is the core mode where you're kind of... again, it's the same as Counter-Strike. You are going, you're planning, like, it's a spike, but, it's like a bomb. The only difference being that your characters have, like, different abilities and different skill sets, and there is a plethora of different characters you can choose from. This is a game where I kind of recommend maybe, like, picking a character and kind of getting familiar with them, because I've tried, when I was first playing this, I tried at least several different character types, and I was really struggling to kind of master them, or try to get, like, a good feeling for any of the characters, just because there's plainly so many of them. It's fun to test different things, but in this type of game where it is sort of competitive, I could see it being a bit of a problem if you try to get a little too creative for that kind of stuff. So I also noticed on console, it seems like the auto-aim is really aggressive. Like, there's crossplay, but it's between console platforms. And there's platform progression that I guess carries across different things. I didn't even hear that player coming from behind, so that's great. And I thought that was kind of interesting. There's also a lot more in-depth settings, too. So stats, we're going to go back to just literally text only for FPS, but I mean it's basically just 120 FPS. You can do, like, frame time, your server tick, your packets lost, all that stuff. There's crosshair options. Someone was actually asking about that, so I thought it was good to highlight the fact that you can really adjust your crosshair, like the color, the outline, the style, the focus of it. Your aim down sights options, your sniper scope, tons of really, really in-depth crosshairs. You can even make your own crosshair, which is kind of cool. So yeah, there's quite a lot of personalization to this. They take that serious angle really seriously. Oh, I missed the buy round. Well, that's going to be rough. I just got a pistol. I'll have to pick up a gun on the way. That's not going to go well. So the game seems to have, like, a decent selection of maps. They all have a different vibe to them, but, they are tight, linear setups where you move through different areas. The idea is to get characters moving in certain ways, and some of the levels, like this one, has a bit of a, I guess you would say, a teleportation type angle to it as well, where you can flop around the map to certain areas. You see those little blue markings on the big map on the left-hand side. like it's very much like this thing is kind of set up for competitive play and movement and style. So it is very much set in a very specific kind of almost like broadcasting type design and angle for visuals. I get shot. There's like two teammates over there, and I like seriously where. So this just bothers me because it's like, where did I get shot from there? I wish this had kill cams. Anyways, yeah. So there's a few different modes too. Like there's actually like deathmatch thing and more serious play. So there's different options, and there's lots of different guns, and there's lots of different setups. And it's a very much a matured game. This has been out for a while. And now it's just coming to console. And wow, they surrendered? Seriously? We just kind of started. Okay, we'll jump to another match, I guess. So in general, it really is a lot of content to this game. They got a great setup of maps and scenarios and weapons and characters, and it's almost overwhelming if you're not familiar with the game from the PC side of things, right? Like, it'll take you a little bit to get used to how the guns shoot and how the characters move and everything like that. But for me, the major sticking points that I find, at least for the experience here, is that it feels really slow to play. I know that sounds odd, but like, it's very, very slow. And I don't know if that's just from me playing a lot more fast-paced shooters, like really, really quick ones recently, but there is something about the gameplay here that it just really seems to kind of take its time. And at times I feel like I'm in slow motion, sort of doing stuff, and it's like, yeah, you could pull out your knife, you move a little bit faster, but it just, yeah, and you get shot with like a single bullet, your character can't even basically move or react or anything, which is weird, and I'm assuming that's a little bit by design, but yeah, there's just something about the pacing, and I don't know, maybe other games are a little different, but like stuff like Counter-Strike to me felt faster than this, and I've played a few games kind of like this, and I find the auto-aim a little aggressive on the controller. It seems like at times you just get straight, easy, quick one-shot headshots, and most of the time it's kind of like they're a little spongier, and that feels a little weird, but at least you get this like nice map on the right-hand side that kind of tells you little details about how the damage was kind of dealt, but it would be nice to have like a little kill cam thing. And then the other thing is the rounds. It just goes on and on and on. It's 13 rounds to attack and defend, but it's just like the matches, they just feel endless. Like at first you're kind of into it, but then like when you're several rounds in, I kind of just like stop caring, honestly, which I know doesn't sound the best, but I kind of just get like really bored. I don't know if it's my attention span dwindling or something, but like it just seems to go on and on to the point where I'm kind of like I don't even really remember the competitiveness. Like I guess the idea is to give you lots of time to try different routes, different scenarios, different strategies. But like I ultimately just kind of get bored and I just stop caring about like how the match is going. Like I'm just not, I don't know, maybe I'm lacking that competitive element to it, but I just at a certain point just kind of like, oh, we're still playing this. It just kind of keeps going on and on and on and on and never seems to end. But they do seem to have a lot of stuff to this game. It's had great support. It works really effectively here. Again, it's basically we're playing the beta version, but it's the full version of the game. The only issues I've had are like menu UI kind of things not functioning properly. But gameplay, it's smooth, it's fluid, it looks good, it runs well. I like the aesthetic of it. The characters are neat looking. I guess it's like a global approach where the characters are from different regions and stuff, so they all got their different style. It's just kind of like, I guess you would say, getting used to like who's who, what they do, their abilities, how that factors into your gameplay style. What works for you, what doesn't. And that in itself is just kind of interesting, like kind of going around making these choices, and it all seems to handle really well on the controller. I really do wish that, like, oh, I got killed by the blast, that sucks. Should have moved out of the way, I guess. I just kind of wish it was a little faster, like, either faster, like, not as many rounds, or just quicker gameplay. Like, it would be so nice to just move quickly. Because I swear, I've watched footage and stuff of this in the past on PC, and it feels a lot faster there, or it looked a lot faster. And when I'm playing it on here, it really does feel like when I have my knife out, it feels like I'm going for a brisk kind of walk. And when I have my regular gun out, it looks like it feels like I'm just walking around. And I don't know if that's just because games have gotten faster and faster, but like, yeah, there's something about this that just kind of feels really sort of slow pacing wise. And I guess I get it is a tactical shooter of sorts, but most tactical shooters that I'm used to they just move faster. You know what I mean? Like I'm used to the speed being fast because you die fast. You get a single bullet at you. You basically like the bullet. It's not like bullet pen. I'm trying to think of what it is, but the stopping power of the bullets. It just makes you like unable to move, unable to react. It's really strange. There's something for like the balancing setup because like I know it's the PC version, but like it, you know, on console, I don't know if it's the controller thing or something. It just doesn't feel quite as like quick and smooth as some other titles I've played. But the fluidity is great. It looks visually impressive for what it is. It's got a neat art style and direction and aesthetic. I do like the maps. They're simplistic. It's kind of like a minimalistic, bit of a clay, obviously, or honestly, infusion kind of thing going on. And yeah, I don't know. I like this. I do kind of like it, but I also, again, I find the matches kind of drag on at times. They can get a little boring, and like I feel like you really have to be intense and competitive about this. Otherwise, it's just kind of like a little bit harder to get into because there's shooters like this. I've played quite a few. There was like Warface, Breakout, Counter-Strike, Crossfire. And you just gotta kind of, I don't know how to describe it. You gotta hit that right setup. Oh, come on. Like, what are the odds that the one other person that's left is... I guess you gotta check your corners better, really, but... Yeah. And a lot of the game, too, is learning the characters. That's the whole basis here. Because Counter-Strike and something is a lot easier to just pick up Counter-Strike. Your guy with different guns that you buy and different, like... I guess you would say, like, vests for health or bonus. Armor. There we go. Armor is the word I'm looking for. I don't know why that's such a struggle. But, you know, it's pretty basic and easy to pick up. But this one, it's that element of... Hey, you've got armored guns you buy, but you also have to learn your abilities. What these characters do, how they shoot, how they have these different things. A lot of the abilities seem to just be balls-based. Like, you put these balls up that, like, make it so people can't see. Very strange. Very, very odd that everything is so ball-oriented. But, you know, that's kind of the setup, is you have the different things, and block visibility, and... You know, she's got, like, these butterfly things, and then, like, this, like, orb thing, and kind of blocks visibility. And the cool thing about the butterfly lady here is that she, like, comes back after, like, death with the ultimate ability, which can be really helpful. It really can make a massive difference where you're, like, dead, and then all of a sudden you're back in, and... Yeah, it's, like, it's a world of difference to be able to do that kind of thing. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm gonna... put up some balls.
One enemy remaining. Drop in a smoke.
I don't know if that helps us or doesn't. But they all have different stats, they all have different setups. And that's like a big part of the game for me, is like trying to learn all of these things. I got shot! That's what I'm talking about, is like, it's these ridiculous, like, auto... Again, it's how the controller... I think they have a little overly aggressive of an auto aim in this. Because I've even done that too, where I feel like sometimes I get like the cheapest auto headshots out of nowhere with my first bullet. And then other people do. And you can do that from like massive ranges. And I know there's like aim down sights, but I guess a big part, at least on the PC side of things, is you're not supposed to really do much of that. And yeah, it's the game that I'm assuming a lot of people know. But there is a lot of like adapted and slightly adjusted for controller kind of setups. And I do ponder how that will kind of impact things for people and how they play this and how they learn this and how things get adjusted on here. Because as I said, like I like this, but I also look at it from a perspective where it kind of like, to me, it feels pacing-wise slow. I don't know if it's the amount of rounds. I don't know if it's sort of just like the movement of the gameplay, but it's just kind of like, I've played so many quicker shooters. And this one has a ton of How do you know I'm there? This one has a ton of personality. I don't understand in this game. Sometimes people just know where you are. It's so bizarre. like you just turned the corner and you just knew exactly by placement. Maybe it's just like playing the maps too. That's another big part of it, I guess I didn't really mention as well, is like the knowledge of the maps. So I played a few maps, like the maps a couple times, like, and it's like a lot of it I really think is knowing the angles, knowing the movement, where people go, and that in itself takes time. This is a game where it really takes a lot of your time, in the sense of learning the layouts, learning the abilities, learning the different characters in combination of those abilities and different weapons, what they can do, and then learning strategies of how to move around the map depending on your game mode. It's like a lot of busy work. And as I said, it could just kind of go like on and on and on and on. And the matches just kind of go on and on and on. And that's the big thing, is like, I like it, but I also kind of see things where I'm kind of just like, I think I crave something almost a little quicker in setup. Or at least that's the desire. Oh, there's a lot of enemies that way. I'm gonna try to go around. Uh-oh. Character got straight up shot up there. We're all dying. That's not good. I think we're all gonna die. I think I'm the last one left on my team, and there's 3 of them, and it's all over for me. So I like the art direction. I think it plays well on console. I think a lot of this one is going to come down to sort of the idea of like, do you like this style of play? Do you find this interesting, or is this game like a little strange to you? It's a neat tactical shooter. It hits those Counter-Strike vibes well. It can be engaging, it can be fun, it can be stressful. Oh, I thought for sure I was gonna get all headshots there because the guy was like lined up for a clat, but no, I did my best. I tried my best on that one. And like, again, maybe there's a good sense of tension for people and stuff, but there's just something about the way the shooting and everything works, and the movement when you're getting shot and everything like that, that makes it feel a little kind of like, it feels random. I don't know how to describe it. I'm sure there's like a skill layer, but the way the aiming kind of works, and the bullets, and your health, and the movement, it feels like a lot of it is sort of the luck of getting that shot off, and the bullet kind of hitting where it should, as opposed to the skill and the knowledge and the know-how to kind of nail segments. And that's just kind of the vibe I've been getting out of it. So I think this is definitely, it's interesting. I think this is something I could play, you know, a bit of and have some fun with and find kind of interesting. And I'm just kind of curious if other people are going to feel the same. You know what I should have done last round is I had this ability that lets me come back. Oh, come on! I have this ability that lets me come back. Surprised they can see you, so obviously coming back there. I should have used that last round to go and kill the guy that had the bomb. Why didn't I do that? Why didn't I think of that? See, that's what I'm saying is, like, I gotta get more familiar with these characters. I'm trying to main Butterfly Lady here. And it's still not second nature to use these setups. And then, as I was saying, I was doing some streams and I've been trying to switch between all the characters to see kind of who I like, and it's just so hard to get used to all these abilities, because you have your ultimate, which does one thing, and then you have like your secondary abilities, and like you can use item details to kind of get it, but it's more about getting to the point where you're familiar and comfortable with all your abilities, that they're just second nature. You don't have to like think about doing them, if that makes sense. That's where the big problem comes in, is like you gotta naturally be able to handle all this stuff, and that's where I think there's a little bit more complexity over something like Counter-Strike, which you can just jump in and shoot, and it's a shooter game, right? Like Counter-Strike, there's more strategy and movement, how you control lanes, blah blah blah. Same with this game, but this game like has that extra layering of like, how do these heroes, like it's a hero shooter kind of game. It's like, how do these hero shooters respond? How do they play to this setup? How do they change as you move around and as you like have points to buy more abilities to use during the matches and the rounds? How does that factor in? I think that's a lot of the game that can be a little daunting for some people to fully get into. And it does seem very broadcast oriented and set up in the terms of like wanting you to showcase, share, and play this in a competitive way. So I think it's kind of neat. I think it's kind of fun. I think it's kind of cool. And I do ponder really the interest levels that people will have and how well this one will do on the console side of things. But, you know, I kind of like it. I think it's worth trying. It's interesting. I just, again, wish pacing-wise, it kind of hit the mark a little bit more for me. Because I do like it. I do like the setup. It feels a little slow at times, but still a cool game.